As soon as I arrive at a location, whether it's outdoors or even indoors, the two things that I mainly look for is the light, and I also look for to see if I could find lines of direction. And in this case here, the lines of direction that I saw were the pillars. So I placed the bride in a certain way and I set the camera up in a certain way that the pillars just seem to overflow each other, and it just gives a feeling of depth more to the photograph. And then we have a little bit of light coming in from, as we're looking at the bride, our right side, and then coming in from the back, also coming in a little bit in between the pillars on the left side. And of course I used a main light here, the quantum, to the right of the camera. And just a few yards away I was able to find a real nice spot where I could set the bride up, and there's some nice sunlight that's coming in and just touching her veil from the back left side, also touching the bottom of her gown. And this is just a really nice touch. This is always something that I'm trying to look for. It's called a kicker, or sometimes a rim light, coming in from the back and a little bit to the side. Sometimes you have to be careful if the sunlight is too low and it's coming in and it's striking your lens, causing a flare. So if that's the case, you just have to get an assistant, hold a reflector right above the lens, and block the sunlight from hitting your lens. And then as we walked down by the pond, it was starting to get late and the sun was starting to go down, and I put the bride up on the bridge, and you can see that she's in the shade, but yet the background, the pond, has some nice sunlight still falling on it. So this was kind of a nice touch. And then being that the bride was in the shade, I did use my quantum light about 45 degrees to my left. But we're going to go over the lighting in just a little bit. And then here we're zooming in a little bit closer, still using the quantum light. And then as we come in closer yet, we added a reflector. And this really works. It's a beautiful, beautiful soft light. Just using the reflector just adds a little bit more light into the eyes. Now we have a different bride at a different location at a different time of the day. This was actually in the morning, and again I found the light coming in from the back here, which is highlighting her veil and just giving a little bit more dimension over towards the top of her shoulder, giving a nice rim light to the shoulder, and of course using my quantum off to the side. And as we zoom in a little bit closer, I'm able to use the reflector, so we can get the reflector in pretty close, and look how it just highlights the eyes. It just makes the eyes so much brighter. And then we're using again our 70 to 200 millimeter lens, and if we zoom in even closer, it's going to knock the background further out of focus. And we're again bringing in that reflector a little bit closer, just brightening up those eyes, giving a really nice effect. And look at that beautiful, soft, natural light. This is just natural light here, using the reflector, but yet the light's coming in from the back, highlighting her veil as well as her hair. And if we're doing a pre-bridal portrait session indoors, I still try to find some of the existing light that I can use in the portrait, or sometimes if it's possible, I'll again look for it coming in from the back side, and so on. But in this particular case, they had such beautiful light in this room, and this was the reception site where the bride is going to be having her reception, but she wanted to do her pre-bridal portrait session here. So this is natural light. Of course I enhanced the softness of it in Photoshop. Here we came in a little bit closer, and then we've added a reflector, so we get some nice catch light in the eyes, and just brightened up the eyes a little bit more. And I think this one here we had set at 3.5. This is all natural light, and again just using our reflector. This is on the wedding day with the bride and her maid of honor, where the bride was getting ready. And notice how we found a little bit of a rim light or a kicker light to the one side, our left side, and some of that may have been caused by the lamp on the table, but I also had my assistant hold a flash, bounce it off the ceiling to our left hand side. And then of course this was made into a black and white in Photoshop. And here we're at the hotel lobby where the bride got ready, and this is also before the wedding. And this is just natural light. We have beautiful light here. There is a large window coming in from our left hand side, and then since this was about a 3/4 view, I had my assistant hold a reflector in there, and notice how it just brightens up the eyes and also giving a nice catch light to the eyes. So this is just some of the things that you can look for, and it's really endless because all the locations are different, but there's always great light to find somewhere.